So when I came down here Friday night, it was super dark, rainy, cold, nasty on the beach. I walked out here, waves crashing everywhere, rain on the beach. Just like my emotions and feelings at the time, the storm that I was going through with everything. I'm at 132 days sober today, and I take it one day at a time. Try to do the best that I can for this day. I still have some issues I'm trying to work through, personal growth, and many times people don't understand why I do the things I do, and I don't even understand why I do what I do sometimes. But the point is, I guess, is that you see today, it's super clear, beautiful day on the beach. And yesterday I took a lot of time in the morning. It was still raining, still really gross outside, and I was trying to process all of what I was feeling. And with the help of a friend of mine, Erica, she helped me work through all of this, and I was able to do some soul searching, and wound up being a very nice day yesterday afternoon. So how all that went was I was walking on this beach yesterday, and as I was walking, the tide was coming in, and it was pushing me closer and closer to the shore, and it was still like my emotions. The waves acted as if they were my emotions, and all the anger that I was holding on to and resentment, and it just kept pushing me up to the shore, and ultimately I wound up on some rocks, and I couldn't walk the beach any further, and it just felt kind of like I was drowning, metaphorically, with the way that the waves and the tide was. And my lifeline, I guess, would be, the break on the dunes. And so, yeah, I was processing stuff. And I have a book that I was recommended by Erica Derrickson. It's called The Language of Letting Go by Melody Beattie. It's a daily meditational reading for codependence, and it's a really good book. So I was reading this book. I've been reading this book. I was reading it yesterday when I went down to a different beach, and as I was reading this, and it took some time to reflect on the message that I was received, the sun started to poke through a little bit, and I was still feeling a little And then I got in the car and I hopped on a ferry, came back over to the island, and there's another beach up there, has some really cool trees at Fort Fisher, and I took some more time to get out, go sit by the water, process further. Took the book with me, read a passage out of it, and there was a sign though whenever I got to the beach where it was all blocked by rocks, and the sign says no beach access. Well, I'm not going to hear that, because I am definitely a rebel without a cause, I guess. So instead of thinking it's like, yeah, there is no beach access, whenever I'm holding on to anger, I'm holding on to resentment, I'm holding on to rejection, I'm holding on to dishonesties with myself, trust issues with others, a bunch of other issues, I couldn't access the beach with the rocks in the way. But then I took it as though that was just my mind blocking me from getting to where I wanted to go. So I hopped down the rocks, got on the beach, was relaxing, the sun came out finally, and I was bargaining with the universe and our God, if you will, and we all know how that goes. If you let me live through this, then I won't do this or that again, and that's not fair to do, because we always come to our gods in the universe when we need something, and like, even though it is accepted, it's not the thing to do, I don't think. But the point is I love hunting for shark's teeth and real big gem collector. And I was bargaining like, hey, if you let me find a shark's tooth, you know, I will be so happy, or whatever. You know, I was basing, if this, then that, my happiness would be defined, or whatever the case is. Well, it had other plans for me, and I didn't find one there. So I walked around for about an hour, got in the car, drove up to the next beach. Well, my mom had passed away in 2016, and that's been a really big turning point in my life. I had a hard time with all that. I fell into drugs, opiates, whatever. I was an active addict. I guess, you know, more or less anything that was available I would do outside of shooting heroin, smoking crack, or doing meth. Anything else was whatever to me. And I've ran that path for the last 3 years, up until August 5th of this year. And anyway, well, I came and brought my mom down here to let her ashes go at the Curry Beach here in North Carolina. Really beautiful place. She loves it here all the time, and I have fond memories of growing up on the beach fishing with my dad and my mom. And I went and sat with her, and before I did though, I was debating on if I needed to bring the book or not. And so I did. Ultimately, I brought the book. And when I brought the book, I sat down where I had let her go at, and I was just praying, you know, meditating a little bit, and something drew me to, in the book, to go to the day of her birthday, and so I did, and it was about patience, and I'll read it, I guess, whenever I cut this video together. But it was really divine because Erica had read this passage probably 3 months ago, and I had been waiting on it. That's what had actually drew me to get the book in the first place. So I was waiting to come across this passage, but I wasn't looking for it, you know, and it just so happened that the day on her birthday was the day of the passage that I was looking for her birthday. So when I read that, I was like completely shocked. It was exactly what I needed to hear. I said, okay, you know, it's a message from my mom, just to be patient. Everything that I deserve and want will come as it needs to, as I release and work through all these issues that I'm having with myself. And I got up, put the book in my hoodie pocket, started walking the beach, and, you know, I started bargaining again about finding the shark's tooth. And a wave it came, and whenever it receded, I looked down and there was a nice big old shark's tooth. I was like, cool, that's awesome, you know? Give to the universe the answers. This has been happening a lot more lately since I became in tune with myself and doing right. And yeah, I was really, really stoked about that. So, you know, as we do, this codependence and feeling like other people have to make us happy and such, I realized I was still bargaining because I was like, well, one's cool, but two would be better, you know, having my son in mind to have another one, to find it, to give to him. And yeah, I didn't find one immediately by any means, but I did find another one as I was walking away. And how I found it, though, was kind of really crazy in itself as well, because there's, you know, different processing techniques that we can do. You know, some people write. I like to write, but I couldn't write yesterday. I didn't have a pen and a pad. But while I was sitting there at the beach with my mom, I decided that I needed to write down what it was that bothered me, what it was that I wanted to let go of emotionally, physically, mentally, you know, just let it go. So I sat there and I walked up to the edge of the water, and the first thing I wrote was anger. And no sooner than I wrote anger, a fierce wave came and washed it away, and I let it go. And I did this multiple times with multiple emotional things that I was feeling, and each time the wave came and it took it away. And then I switched to my desires and wants. Now, mind you, each time that I did this, I was being pushed back from the edge of the water. You know, it was like my emotions would come in real strong and then they would go out. So it pushed me back. Like when the wave came in, it pushed me further back from where I started with anger. And it was like, it was really intense, man. When I got to my desires, I put happiness on there, and a nice subtle wave came up and it took it away. It pushed me back a little further. And I wrote down love, which is one thing that I really want in this world, is just to be loved and not rejected, not resented, completely accepted by somebody compassionate, trustworthy, respectful of my emotions and needs, and puts in as much effort into things as I do. When I got to love, though, I wrote love down and I stood there. No wave came. I stood there longer. No wave came. It was probably 10 minutes or so, and I was still sitting there, and I was like, wow, okay, so I guess I'm not worthy of love. But that's not true. What I realized is that my desire for love, and to be able to manifest that or have that, I needed to step forward back again into my emotions, i.e. into closer to the waves, and figure out why it is that I haven't had love up until this point. To which I realized that I have to have trust to have love. I wrote trust in the sand, and no sooner than I did, a wave came and it took it away. It pushed me back a little further. Okay. So then I wrote down jealousy, because I can get jealous sometimes on things, and I don't think things are fair. I wrote that down, and when I did, a wave came. It took a few minutes, but a wave did come and it took jealousy away. I wrote down acceptance. And as I wrote down acceptance, it took a few minutes, but a wave came and it took it away. And this pushed me back, and next thing I know, I'm standing back at love, and I'm staring at it. I'm staring at love on the ground from where I wrote it initially. And about a minute and a half later, a wave came and it took love away from me. It took it, I gave it to the universe. And then I started walking back to the car, and I'm looking down in the pile of sand and just so happened to find that extra shark's tooth that I wanted. And that made me very happy. And I feel a lot better today. As you can see, again, it's a beautiful day out here. But the point of it all is, I guess, is that we have to do the work to be better people. If we don't like what we represent, our actions, our patterns, whatever you want to call it, you have to do stuff and realize what it is that is keeping you from this. Because if you don't take the steps to change any of it, it's not going to change, and you can't rely on anybody else to bring you anything. Anyway, I don't really do these type of things, but I'm going to. We're doing this. I've got a lot of big things about to happen in the way of some video work with a few really, really amazing people and spiritual healers and such. So figured why not get out here, do the work, let go of my emotions to have a beautiful, beautiful day on the beach. Took care of myself, and here we are. So peace to you guys. I hope somebody can find some good information out of this. Y'all have a blessed day.